CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 2, Part 42, Audio by Renee Matthew. The dramatic event where Genghis Khan was addressing the Muslim rich residents to part with their wealth was very dramatic. People say that it could have been painted also later. Abdullah Khan was a distant descendant of Genghis Khan's eldest son Jochi, and he was also a part of this particular speech. When he went to perform his holiday prayers, he happened to listen to Genghis Khan speaking, and we get this particular report from his chronicler, Hafiz-e Tanish. He reports that the performance of Muslim piety by his master and included the surprising comment, this was according to the yasa of Genghis Khan. So this was according to the law of Genghis Khan, to part with rich wealth. So that was the report given by Abdullah Khan and his chronicler. It comes from his own chronicler, Hafiz-e Tanish. Now we need to look at the conclusion of this particular part. When we remember Genghis Khan today, what is his prominence today? How has he helped the present day people? Or why are we studying it, or why have we included it in our history? It is because of three things. It is because of the conqueror, the destroyer of cities. He was an individual who was responsible for the death of thousands of people. That is how Genghis Khan is looked upon. Many residents in the 13th century, especially in towns of China, Iran, and Eastern Europe, looked at the hordes. They looked at the destruction from the steppes with fear and distaste, because people were really scared of the way he actually conducted his military expeditions and campaigns. But still we can say that Genghis Khan was the greatest leader of all time, in spite of all these 3 points. Because of all the following reasons, 5 reasons are there. He was able to unify the Mongol people, though they belonged to different culture and tradition. He was able to free them from interminable tribal wars and Chinese exploitation. So tribal wars was there, and he was able to free them. And Chinese, because it was a neighboring country, it is possible that they could have exploited them, so he was able to free them. It brought them prosperity because they were loyal to Genghis Khan. And as a result of all these things, a good transcontinental empire which had so much of culture, tradition, and intermixture of things, it was fashioned. He was also able to restore trade routes and markets. And this actually attracted people from all over the world, especially people like Venetian, Marco Polo, and all those things, because it won a lot of fame to the distant places also. So in spite of these 3 points, when we look at Genghis Khan, we may think, okay, he's a conqueror, he's a destroyer, he's a maneuverer, he's a looter. But in spite of all that, more demerits than the demerits, we have got more of merits. So that is an important point. There are some contrasting image that is given when we think of Genghis Khan. It is because of dissimilar perspectives, because when the historians wrote about the chronicles, when they read the chronicles and everything, there are different perspectives on this ruler. So we should pause and reflect on how this perspective can completely erase all others. We have to take the most authentic one. So there were opinions of the defeated people, people who were settled. Lot of opinions, negative opinions came from the defeated sedentary people, settled people. Because the sheer size of the Mongol domination was very high. They were really cruel when they annexed and conquered. But after that, they were able to give them a new life. It is like they conquer and they give them a new life. So we should always look at the size of the Mongol Empire, especially in the 13th century. It was a huge body of people and faiths which were embraced. Lot of culture was there. So Mongol Khans, they belonged to variety of faith. And what was the variety? Shaman, Buddhist, Christian, and eventually Islam. All these religious beliefs were there. They never let their personal beliefs dictate public policy. They never wanted the personal belief to come to the front and impose personal belief on the public people. Mongol rulers were very careful enough to recruit administrators and armed contingents from people of all ethnic groups and religions. They did not have a confinement to choose people from specific ethnic group and specific religious groups. They included everybody. They respected everybody. So theirs was a multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-religious regime. And nobody was threatened. Nobody felt threatened by its pluralistic constitution. It was pluralistic. Look at all the terms, the key terms given there. Multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-religious. And they were really attracted by the pluralistic constitution, by the pluralism of the empire. That is something which attracted everybody. Now, what was unusual and why is it so attractive? There was a time when things were unusual. The historians are only now studying about the evolution of this Mongol empire, where they really paved as an example to other empire. They actually provided ideological models for later regimes, especially for Mughals of India. Mughals of India actually emulated them. They were very influenced by the Mongols. There is a documentation that is coming to us from the Mongols, and any nomadic regime, it makes it virtually impossible to understand. It is very difficult to understand the inspiration that led to the confederation, to the consolidation of these fragmented groups. We should remember that all the people under the Mongol Empire were of different religious and ethnic origin, but still they were fragmented, right? Because when they were annexed, they were fragmented. So, consolidation and confederation of these fragmented groups was not an easy task, especially under the ambition of creating an empire which was so huge. So Mongol Empire, in spite of all these things, it kept on expanding because of its different milieu. It started using a lot of different strategies. I told that Genghis Khan was really interested in using a lot of different unique techniques to bring about the expansion of the empire. So inspiration of its founder was a powerful force. Everybody was inspired, especially the Mongols. And by the end of the 14th century, Timur was another monarch. He aspired to universal dominion. He wanted to dominate all countries of the world, just like Genghis Khan. And he was hesitating to declare himself monarch because he was not of Genghis Khanid descent. He wanted badly to be the descendant of Genghis Khan because he was known for that domination. He also wanted to be a monarch who was like Genghis Khan. He wanted to emulate him. But when he declared his independent sovereignty later, when he said that I am a sovereign, he was declaring himself, or he declared himself as a son-in-law of the Genghis Khanid family. Because when you declare yourself independent, it is not possible that you will get the fame. It's not only fame, but it was a great honor to be a part of the Genghis Khanid descent. That is the meaning of this point. So after decades of Soviet control, Mongolia was under Soviet control after the descendants or disintegration of the Mongol Empire. This country, Mongolia, is recreating its identity as an independent nation. So now it is recreating its identity. Okay? So it has also seized Genghis Khan as a great national hero. And he's publicly, he's given a lot of veneration, reverence and respect. And the achievements are still recounted with pride. They look upon Genghis Khan as a great hero. So there was a crucial juncture in the history of Mongolia. A kind of checkpoint was there in the history of Mongolia, where Genghis Khan had once again appeared as an iconic figure for the Mongol people. He was an iconic figure, mobilizing memories of great past in the forging of national identity that can carry the nation into the future. So they are known for their national identity, for their unification and for the oneness in power. This is a famous kind of representation of art which is given in your textbook, The Capture of Baghdad by the Mongols. It is a miniature painting in the chronicles of Rashid al-Din Tabriz, 14th century. Like how they conquered Baghdad. It was not very easy, but the techniques that was used and everything was given. And more pictures with clarity is also available in the web browser. So please make sure that you read little more on this particular painting. So we have come to the end of this particular chapter.